It's time for our awesome special guest speaker. Not only is he an international #1 best-selling author and an inspiration to thousands of people with his attitude and philosophy, but today is a historic reveal of his 3rd book titled I Can, with a very, very special clean, easy version. Ladies and gentlemen, we have our own version of the I Can book. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome onto the clean, easy stage the one and only RichardMcCann.
I know I can be what I want to be. If I work hard at it, I'll be where I want to be.
Clean Easy will not be here in 3 years' time. The direct selling industry is falling to pieces. If I were you, I'd be looking for a different form of income. That's, of course, if you listen to those scaremongers that are out there that are telling you that this is not a viable industry. That's, of course, if you take notice of all those sensationalized headlines that we read every morning. That's, of course, if you listen and you're affected by the negative news stories that we hear morning, noon and night. Of course, Clean Easy will be here in 3 years' time. But will you? Fantastic. What my session's about is how we find a way through that negativity that surrounds us all, amongst other things. But if I was sat where you are right now, and quite frankly, if I wasn't a speaker, I would be, because you know what? Clean Easy rocks. If I was sat where you are right now, I'd be asking, why this speaker? It's a good question. You're all busy people. You've got activity to do. You've got follow-ups to carry out. You've got targets to hit. You've got Miami to get to. My answer would be this. Well, I'm also busy myself. In fact, I've become one of the busiest speakers in the UK. This is my 1,166th presentation, workshop, speaker bootcamp, or motivational training day that I've delivered in the last 7 years. And I believe that some of the things that have helped me become so successful can be applied to what you do. But that said, if I was sat where you are right now, I'd be saying, that's fair enough, but well, what are you going to cover? Well, actually, there's a little clue in my name, and you've heard it already. It's I Can. Not just a fantastic, empowering affirmation that will serve you well in this industry, and coincidentally, it's the title of my 3rd book, Never Miss an Opportunity. It forms a framework for this presentation. I'm going to cover the importance of positivity, especially nowadays in the 21st century. I'm going to cover that courage creates success. Achievement begins with a goal, and last of all, nothing's ever easy, is it? Never give up. Nothing's ever easy. Apart from the easy party, of course, that we're all hearing about today. Guys, you've heard it all before. There's nothing new on there. I don't own those concepts. I maybe own the way that they're hung onto the I Can acronym. But it's okay understanding this stuff. It's okay knowing this stuff. If you're not going to take any of this, you might as well ignore the stuff I'm going to share with you. You might as well go get yourself a sauna for the next 44 minutes. I'm going to ask you to take some action throughout this presentation. Because without action, it's like having a Ferrari with no wheels. Okay? And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to actually take a big piece of action because I'm going to give you a massive gift that I've never given away before, but it requires some action at the end. Okay. But that said, if I was sat where you are right now, I'd still be wondering, okay, it sounds kind of interesting, but so what are you possibly going to inspire us with? I'm going to share my life story. By the way, I was asked at the beginning, I was mingling with you all. Richard, how old are you? You don't look old enough to share inspiration. Are you 25? Are you 32? I'm 42 years of age. Do I look 42? 42. I was born in the 60s. But I'm going to take you back, if I may, for a few minutes to where it all began for me. In fact, it was a week before my 6th birthday when my sister Sonia shook me awake. She says, Richard, you're not supposed to laugh at that bit. By the way, where's all the ginger massive? I've got the ginger massive in. My sister Sonia said, Richard, wake up. Mum's not come home, let's go look for her. We put our coats on over our pyjamas, and we left the house 5:30 in the morning. It was October, so as you can imagine, it was quite cold, it was dark. And we walked down a path on the field at the back of the house where we lived. It was the first time that I felt fear, wondering what could have happened to my mum. And by the way, up until this point, we've been living on the Scotall Council estate in Leeds. Some people call them sink estates. And even up until now, things were tough. We're on the at-risk register. We had 126 visits by the social workers by the time I was 5. Mum and Dad weren't doing a very good job of bringing us up. Drink, violence, depression, all that kind of stuff. But this night was different, or this morning was different. We walked down that path. We eventually made our way to the local bus stop. And we waited for the first bus to arrive. And I remember my heart lifting as I saw this bus pulling up with its brightly lit interior. The doors opened and I thought my mum was going to get off the bus. She didn't. In fact, the driver said, "Are you getting on then?" We said, "We're waiting for our mum." And off he went. And after an hour or so, we gave up and we went home. And the police arrived at the house. And they took us up. In fact, they're asking questions. "When did you last see your mum? Do you have any photographs of her?" And they took us from the house. And we arrived 10 minutes later at the local children's home. This is Beckett's Park Children's Home, where you could tell the staff were expecting us. They were fussing over us, giving us cups of cocoa. I was loving that. We never had cocoa. We're on benefits, you see. I was loving it until this police officer said, "I've got something to tell you." I remember what he did. He crouched down like this, like you would to a child. He said, "I'm afraid to tell you, but your mum's been taken to heaven. You're not going to see her again." I didn't believe him. So you know what I did? I prayed. And later that day I thought my prayers had been answered, because what they did was they led us into this visitor's room. I remember walking into this visitor's room, a bit naive. "All right, where's my mum? Stop messing about." And I thought she was going to be sat there waiting for us. Of course she wasn't. But there was a man with a camera, and he took this picture. This photograph of me and my 3 sisters appeared in the national newspapers. In fact, that photograph appearing in the papers was how some of my mum's brothers and sisters discovered what happened. And that is that night, their sister, or our mum, and there's no easy way of saying this, she was murdered that night. She was found on the field at the back of the house. We'd walked yards from where mum laid. If we'd have seen her there that morning, I don't think I'd have been the person I am today. She'd been stabbed 14 times. She'd been hit twice over the head with a hammer by a man we later discovered called Peter Sutcliffe. The press, the media, they called him the Yorkshire Ripper. He murdered 13 women in the north of England. My mum was the first. The question is, can you tell? If you didn't know already, can you tell? You can't tell, can you? You can't tell that I went through it. You see, you can't tell to look at somebody what they might have been through. I can't tell to look at you what you've been through. Look at you now, there's like 3,000 heads, you all look the same to me. Apart from the ginger ones, of course. Ginger are massive. You can't tell to look at somebody what they've been through, but you can also not tell when you meet somebody for the first time what they might be capable of. Who might become your next superstar. But do you know when people finally discover that do you know what I tell them? It's my attitude. It's my attitude. My I can attitude. That's what's done it. I can overcome life's challenges. I can step outside my comfort zone. I can find the resources that's required to do things that maybe I might not have thought I could achieve in the past. I can. Do you know those 2 words? They are the 2 most important words of the English language, because everything starts with I can. I can go to gold. I can go to bronze. I can get to Miami. If you don't believe you can achieve something, you probably ain't going to do it. But word of warning, you can't just say I can and do nothing about it. That's where the action is then required. But that's where it starts. Mum was buried early the following year. And, hey, by the way, they didn't let us go to the funeral. It wasn't until I was 16 that I was told where my mum's grave was. So we never got to say goodbye until then. And 4 days after mum's funeral, we set up home with my father. Another counsellor said that this was the other side of Leeds. And up until this point, I've been asking myself, why? Why my mum? Do you ever do that? Do you ever ask yourself why when things don't go your way? When you're faced with a challenge? It's quite a natural thing to do. Why me? Why now? But listening to this, I'm laid in bed on one of the first nights, if not the first night. It came to me. I know it sounds crazy. I know why it's happened. Mum's been taken by God away from all this stuff, all this negativity. And we're going to have a better life with my dad. He's got a new girlfriend. She could be my stepmum or my mum. As far as the world's concerned, we're in a proper family now. Now, I don't know how that 6-year-old boy that I was at the time was able to think in that way. But what I believe now, as a 42-year-old man, is that ability to find something positive in a negative situation is an ability we've all got. I cannot stress the importance of positivity, especially now in the 21st century. Positivity. It's not just about going through a tragic event in your life. It's not about what you can't do. It's about, what can you do? And if it's not about what's not working in your business, it's about, what is working? Do some more of that. And if nothing's working for you, find somebody else who is working for and do some of what they're doing.